Hey Cancers, and welcome to your October 2017 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading, and I'm currently just asking myself how many readings I'm going to do that have like the Tower and Death and Five of Cups in them. It really seems like October is a really huge transformative month for everybody. The Tower has been coming up so much, and so I guess that everybody is kind of going through a chaotic period of time, but actually for you Cancer, I don't feel that it's that chaotic. Now, if I had seen anybody else's spread have the cards that yours has right now, I would think, okay, yeah, this is going to be a really difficult month. But I really feel that this is pretty indicative of what Cancer has been going through for a very long time now. And I think that you guys have kind of gathered the knowledge and the wherewithal to navigate situations like these quite seamlessly. So in a way, I'm actually happy to see some of these cards coming up for you because it really tells me that you're going to get the closure that you needed. You're going to have the new transformation that you've been striving for such a long time. And you are going to ultimately sort of come into a new way of balancing your more pessimistic and optimistic ways. So I'm really happy for you guys to have new opportunities to understand what you actually want. Death and the Tower, those two cards are always about wants and desires because ultimately those types of energies come in to take away that which prevents you from receiving what you need or aspiring or becoming motivated to achieve what your goals are, and to ultimately come into a place where you're attracting more abundance and more like satisfaction in your life. So in that way, they're good, but sometimes we don't really have a clear picture of what's hindering us. In fact, sometimes the things that are not so good for us can feel like they're what we need in our lives. So the Tower and Death energy can be difficult, destabilizing archetypes to deal with just because it removes what you don't any longer need in your life. And sometimes we're not quite aware what we need and what we don't need. So as long as you can have a pretty decent attitude about, letting go of certain things in your life, sort of recalibrating your ideals, understanding what it is that you actually want, if that can be sort of a fluid experience for you, I think that October will be a beautiful month. Relationships can change in October. You can find yourself a bit more alone this month. You can find yourself maybe a bit more isolated feeling, but it's not really a negative form of isolation. Cancer is a solitude sign, so you tend to do pretty well when you're alone. You tend to do pretty well when you're not being, needed by a lot of other people. So I really do sense that you're not going to be that needed. You're not going to be that called upon during October, unless it's somebody that you've had a really long history with. But new people, new experiences, it's not really going to be that hectic in October. I feel that it's more of like a sigh of relief. Some of you could be moving in October. I see that very clearly for Cancer. Some of you are leaving a place where you sort of had your breakdown or where you had your rock bottom and starting a new life somewhere. It could be for a lot of you. Some of you have had a person or a family member pass away in September, or it could be like early October, but it feels to me that you're dealing with it in October. So some of you might be going to funerals, or some of you might be choosing to leave the town that reminds you of somebody. Some of you are having a breakup. It's just a month of endings, but it's not something that feels to me like terribly traumatic to you, actually. It feels to me that these types of endings were needed, and I feel like death is pretty traumatic regardless of the person who dies. But for those of you who aren't really experiencing like any kind of death or any kind of loss in that way, changes that relate to your home or relate to your life or what you're trying to achieve feel to me to be very smooth for you. Although Cancer also rules the home, so moving can be a very emotional experience for Cancer. But it almost feels like all of the people who have strong Cancer placements in their chart right now are having some kind of move. That might not even necessarily mean moving house, but I think a lot of you are considering it. A lot of you, a big majority of Cancer is moving like in October, but of course not everybody is, but you're either thinking about it, you're doing it, or you're like thinking about where you want to be next. Even if you know that you need to stay another year or two where you're at, you are thinking about the future and you are thinking about where you want to be in the future. And it's also really good to map that out, to think about timelines, because now that Saturn's gone direct, now that Saturn is no longer retrograde and stationary like it was for like the last 4 or 5 months, time becomes more easy and time becomes more understandable, but it's really easy to get stuck. And again, that sort of Saturn stationary where you're just kind of letting time pass you by and there's sort of this really confused element of time. Now that's not the case anymore, and you can really a lot easier map out where you want to be, when you want to be there, when you want to accomplish something. It'll basically be good to like buy a planner, or be good to like start working on your schedule, or working on how you regiment yourself. I feel that Cancer can do really good here, because I think that's been a struggle. I think that Cancer's sort of schedule and regimenting has been a very stressful topic, especially for those of you with like Sagittarius in your chart. I know that Sag has really been struggling with that as well. So whatever you can do in October to at least reinforce your schedule, to feel more solid within yourself, that could relate to your health as well. Maybe starting a more healthy diet, or sleeping habits as well, like sleeping at a more decent time for you, or going to bed earlier, or waking up earlier or later, even going to bed later. Something about your sleeping gets more regimented too, which is really important for Cancer. If you're like struggling with insomnia or anything as Cancer, it is a sign that you've been somewhere for too long, or you've been in a headspace for too long, because Cancer tends to not be able to sleep when something is being forced, or something is being like a situation is being made to happen when it's not so natural. So do think about the how natural the experience is, how intuitive it is. And I don't mean intuitive like your intuition, but like how like if you're putting together a desk or something, is it like intuitive instructions? Does it feel natural? Does your existence feel intuitive right now? If it's not, there's a really easy energy here to change that. So I want to go ahead and get into the week to week and see what's coming forward for you guys. In the first week, you guys have King of Cups reversed, rooted down by Five of Cups. So for like the masculine Cancer people out there, or like the male Cancers, you're kind of feeling out of your element. Even female Cancers too, like I guess the ways that you are more masculine, like the decisions that you're making, the jobs that you're doing, like your outreach of energy is feeling like out of its element. You're feeling like you're maybe reaching out to people and there's not an equal give and take, could be very possible. You're feeling like the more that you're reaching out to people, the more that you're feeling alone. And I think that a lot of you might be moving because of this, just because you're not liking your community. You want to start over in some way because people are not reaching out to you in the way that you reach out to them. Now, that's also important for you to realize in a different way, because with the Five of Cups sort of significating that energy, it's like you're trying to make things work with the people who don't matter. And this is a very common theme for this month for everybody. It's like some of the people that you're around, it could be family, it could be friends, are not the right people, or are not on your wavelength, and maybe you're trying to have to or you're trying harder than they're trying, or they're not acknowledging the effort that you're putting in, and that's sort of contributing to a lot of these sort of more difficult experiences that you've been having. So definitely in the first week, you can take time to analyze, like, who is my equal? Who is on my team? There's something about who's your ally, because again, Nine of Cups is saying that as well. Like, Nine of Cups is a need to look at who's on your side and who's against you, because there's oftentimes like it's not who you think it is, but that's in the second week. So by the second week, you guys have kind of really thought about who's on your side, and I feel like you've taken a lot of steps to make sure it's the right people. I do think that the second week in October is your most lucky week. Like, if you have any chances or risks that you're trying to take, it's good to do it during the second week, because Nine of Cups and the Empress are both kind of luck cards. They're very fertile cards, so you can get pregnant easily here, or you can impregnate here. It's really easy to also start new businesses, or new ideas can come to fruition. Anything that relates to what you want to create or materialize has a lot of extra push in the second week. That's beautiful. Nine of Cups, you're done by the Empress. And so you're a little bit polarized actually in October, because, you know, like the third week with the Tower and Ace of Cups reverse, that's like kind of a low, and Nine of Cups with the Empress, that's kind of like a high. So it definitely feels a little bit manic maybe for some of you, where you're kind of, you know, jumping from one end of the spectrum to the other. And I think it's just because you've had to learn over like the last year or 2 years, like how to see both sides of a situation, like the really positive sides of difficult situations, the negative sides of positive situations. There is definitely, with death sort of being in the middle of that entire energetic spectrum for you, a need to, you know, start to see things with more of a middle ground. Like, you've had that experience where you had to see both sides of the situation, and now you can take some of the new things coming into your life to just be what they are, and to just have sort of a comfort and sort of a middle ground with things, because you're kind of just harming yourself by being so polarized. It's not really helping anybody else at this point in time. Maybe it's like somebody that you were in a relationship, you had to apply that to, or a way of life that you had been involved with needed that. But now with like the ways that you're moving on, even if you're not like moving houses, the ways that you're moving, Cancer, you don't have to be so polarized in your thought process. Because the second week is beautiful. Some of you can start relationships here. You know, if you've been trying to get pregnant, it can happen here. If you are wanting to make a certain amount of money, it's almost like you can just write it down and you get it type of thing. It's a really beautiful energy in the second week. But that moves us into the third week with the Tower rooted down by Ace of Cups reversed. Like breakups can happen there. Endings can happen there. I feel like, again, I just feel like moving. I feel like changing location. And again, even if you're not like changing your home, you have like moved on in the third week. You have let go of something and you have realized that something couldn't be. And through that, you get a lot of power and you get a lot of validation through understanding what you wanted so badly, why you wanted it, and for what reason it couldn't be, and how much more you have now because of it not working out. And I talked about a lot this in Gemini's reading. So for those of you who have like Gemini, be sure to check out Gemini's readings. I talked a lot about things that don't work out and how that gives more to you sometimes, and how if it had worked out, like that could have been a really difficult situation. So do check that out because it's a similar energy, but it's not quite as prevalent here, so I won't go all into it. What else? I also feel like that's also kind of like crying to me. Like Ace of Cups reverse is always kind of like a crying card, or like you really want to cry but you can't cry. It's a kind of a hormonal experience too. So some of you might be struggling with hormones, or might be struggling with feeling imbalanced in that way. Like you might be having anxiety or like fight or flight, or again, like insomnia can be related to your endorphins and your hormonal structures. So if there is something there, for those of you who've wanted to go to the doctor about that, or who have wanted to have like any kind of testing done, it's a good time for that. Because it could also be like a blood sugar, or like dehydration is another thing. Ace of Cups reversed. I talk about dehydration a lot because it's so relevant to your spiritual experience. You've got to drink water, especially as a Cancer. You know, you're a water sign. So if you're dehydrated through all of these changes and transformations, it's going to be a way more difficult experience. Like really, really take the water on as a new goal for yourself, because no dehydration for Cancers in October. Otherwise, the world will like collapse. So be drinking your water. Other things for the third week, I feel like you can't hold anybody too close during this time. You need your space. You need to be acclimating to your environment, whatever it may be, in your way, not in other people's way. Maybe if you live with like a lot of other people, or you're just married and if you don't live alone, try to establish parts of the house that are your own, if that's possible, that you're not having to be in contact so much with other people. If you do live alone, though, that's sort of a non-issue. I would still, even if you live alone, though, I would make a part of your house like more nesty, or more like comfortable, because there's some kind of discomfort feeling, like you're facing some kind of fear. That's a huge thing for Cancer in October. You're facing a fear, but it's a beautiful outcome. But you need some kind of comfort. You need to build some kind of nest, maybe invest a bit of money into your surroundings. That's always a good thing for Cancer. It always raises your vibration. Whatever you can do to be more comfortable throughout this fear that you're facing will create an even more beautiful outcome. But there's just a lot of possibilities for the third week. And just don't rely, like if you're relying on somebody for something, it's not so good. Try to only rely on yourself, because people fall through in that kind of energy. So do think about that, and you'll move into the fourth week with a lot more. It's interesting. You have 7 of Wands rooted down by 4 of Pentacles. 7 of Wands has been coming up so much too. You definitely kind of get back to your nature by the fourth week, which is happy for me to see, because the Tower energy, the way it's structured in your reading, it feels like you recover quickly from that. Again, because you've been through the Tower so much this year and last year. So the 4 of Pentacles is very much a Cancer type of card. Your number is 4, so you're back to your element. I feel like you're conserving, you're saving money, you could be holding grudges as well. That's definitely a thing with the 7 of Wands energy. It's like how people have not treated you well in the past is very much on your mind, and you're really holding it like close to your heart. It would be a wonderful month to let go. Death is your central theme in October. So if you can't let go of things, you're just going to reinforce a difficult scenario for yourself. You have to be able to not hold grudges while still holding people accountable. Like you can't have accountability with expectations. You can know that people have to be accountable for their actions, but you can't actually really tell that to somebody. You can't say, now you have to be accountable. For those of you in like codependent relationships, you can't say you have to be accountable for what you're doing, because then that becomes a whole nother thing. That becomes you like being demanding of something. And if somebody won't be accountable, and you have to tell them, it's just not going to happen in the first place. So do think about that, because I do see a very clear picture of Cancer like becoming more confident with themselves and telling people what they need from them. The thing is, though, like it's almost like you can communicate what you need from somebody one time, and then if it doesn't happen, it just can't happen. The more that you tell somebody to be accountable, the more that you tell somebody that you need something from them if you're in a relationship with them, and the more that they can't provide that, the less it actually becomes about the problem itself, and the more it becomes about like this cycle. So definitely think about that in the 4th week. You are on higher ground. Like, so whoever you're in the relationship with, or whoever you're dealing with, you're above them, or you have like more sway. Maybe you are the breadwinner. There's something about you that feels above them in some way. Maybe you're from like a higher social echelon, or you are, I don't know, you're in charge of something, or you have demand over something that they don't have. So it's really easy for you to get into your ego about that. So do watch out, because you have to, like with 7 of Wands, it's always a sign like you have the edge up. You have something that other people don't have, despite the conflict and despite people still coming at you. Like, you know, you're going to win the battle. But Cancer is weird about victories and winning. Cancer isn't a sign that wants to win, but it's a sign that wins quite easily. But once you win, like, Cancer feels bad. Cancer tends to kind of feel bad once you like have asserted your dominance, or you have asserted your independence, because you're a cardinal sign. So you have that outward energy, but you're the crab, so you go within as well. So that's that polarity, and that the way that things kind of are always at odds with your energy, Cancer. I think that it would be a beautiful, beautiful month to be able to create distance and soft new boundaries with people that you know don't work in your life, and with the people that you feel like you want to keep around. It will be wonderful to even the ground, to find equal exchange, and to have like a soft communication that isn't too deep right now. It's not the best time for depth. Like, once we get into November, it will be a little bit better, but yeah, it will be best to try to keep things even kiltered, even in whatever way you can, and soft and not too deep, and you will do wonderful, because what's happening within you is very deep. So if you try to really make that your communication, and you try to make that your entire life, it's like too much. It's like a double negative type of thing. So be nice to people. You can come off a little bit cold during this type of energy, and a little bit bitter, even if you know that you're not that way. But Cancer, for some reason, is quite bitter during this time, seeming to other people. So that's why you have to be soft, understanding of people, but at the same time, being able to remove yourself from situations where people don't understand you and where there's not any accountability. Anyway, October is going to be wonderful for you, Cancer. You're going to finally get something that you've wanted for a long time. A lot of you are moving. It's going to be a wonderful experience. A lot of you are like getting a home or fixing up your home or something, which is always a great thing for Cancer. And anyway, I've so enjoyed giving this reading to you guys, and I so appreciate your support. And if this reading was helpful for you guys, I really hope you'll get the chance to check out my new Patreon page. The link should be popping up in the center of your screen right now. Through Patreon, you can see my readings with no ads and also have early access to them. I also do monthly drawings for free readings and have lots of fun discussions. So if you are interested, you can be sure and check it out. If you guys would like to book a private reading with me, that link is in the description box. And I hope that you'll get the chance to subscribe to my YouTube channel here now if you want to keep track of the reading process and what all I am putting out. I hope you guys have an amazing October, and I will be seeing you in November. Bye.